Welcome to Cut the Crap, the unapologetic, unfiltered podcast about the real life behind business, personal growth, and the beautiful chaos of it all. I'm your host, Kirsten, a creative founder, business mentor, and mum, navigating entrepreneurship in a way that's deeply human, never polished, and far from perfect. After 2 decades building businesses and working alongside some of the most inspiring people I know, I have learnt this. The real stories, the ones that don't make the highlight reels, are the ones that matter most. So this podcast is exactly that. Real conversations, raw moments, no hustle hype, no BS, just honest stories from people doing life and business on their own terms. Let's cut the crap. Before we begin, please be aware that this episode contains conversations around suicide, drug use, and sexual assault. These topics may be distressing or triggering for some listeners. Please take care of yourself while listening and know that support is available. We've included a list of relevant support services in the show notes if you or someone you know needs help. Your well-being matters. Please listen with care. Welcome back to another episode of Cut the Crap. I am so excited. Today is a new guest interview, and I have someone very special on the show with me today. So her intro starts when we first met about nearly 14 years ago, when she sauntered very loudly into my office at Division Models. And her name is Missy Robinson. We have actually recorded an episode of Cut the Crap already 5 years ago.
Yeah, I can't believe it's 5 years.
That was our first episode that we ever did. So it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Didn't actually go to air.
No.
But it's okay because we're here again.
We are indeed.
So it's kind of really good that you're the first guest interview and our first ever interview for
popping the cherry for the guests.
Yeah, for the first one. So I'm just going to just share a little bit about your journey. You've had a hell of a journey. You've been through everything to get where you are today, and it's no small feat. So I'm just going to go through a little bit about who you are now. So Missy Robinson is a transformation coach, mental health advocate, women's fitness cover star, who's lost 60 kilos. That's 60. And you have rebuilt your life after trauma. You're also a certified cuddle therapist. Can't wait to talk about that. And global speaker, known for your raw and real take on your getting from struggle to strength. And I know you on so many other levels than that.
Yeah.
But that's
professional.
That's a nice little blurb. Yeah. That's your elevator pitch. So, all right, let's start at the start. So tell me about where it all started for you.
I mean, I guess ultimately it all started for me when I joined the army. Up until then, I was happy, healthy, fit, destined for great things. My future trajectory was sort of, planned out, mapped out, whatever you want to say.
Where did you grow up? Like, what was your childhood like?
I had an amazing childhood. I grew up predominantly with a single mother. My parents were young when they got married and had me. They actually eloped from New Zealand to Australia. Yeah, Mum was a little bit of a rebel. And then when I was 2, they parted ways. So her and I moved back to New Zealand, and we spent 8 years living in Wellington, spending a lot of time with my grandparents. They were sort of like my surrogate parents because Mum was working so much.
You have very similar childhood stories. Yeah.
And then when I was 10, we moved to Australia because Mum knew that there would be more opportunities, not just for her, but for my future as well. So I've been here ever since. And then various places around Australia and Queensland. Yeah.
So tell me about your sort of start into the army. How did that all start?
So I did Army Cadets. Actually, a really funny story how I got into Army Cadets. So it was grade 8. Mum had told me that we were going out to dinner, and I was super excited. It was like a Monday night. And then I guessed that we were going to Sizzler. She didn't say anything, but like, you know, Sizzler, the cheese toast was like the bomb.
Oh, so good.
And then we drove past the Sizzler restaurant and I was like, where are we going? And she's like, oh, we're not actually going for dinner. And I was trapped in the car. We pulled up at the RSL and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? This is not, and I was like 13. And then she's like, there's an open like information night tonight about the Army cadets. And I was like, what are we doing here? This is not for me. Like I was not a prima donna, but, 13-year-old girl, nothing that I'd considered doing. I'd done dancing and stuff like that. By the end of the 3 hours, I was hooked. I was like, yep, I want to do this. Yep, sign me up.
So what do you think it was about your mum must have known something
I mean, I was always super adventurous. I mean, I'd grown up spending a lot of time by myself, but with my grandfather.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of trout fishing and water skiing. So I was always very outdoorsy.
Okay.
And a bit of a tomboy. So I think that was sort of, and I think also Mum was concerned about my future. I was not a troublemaker as such, but I was a scallywag, as my family calls it. So I think she probably wanted to add a bit of discipline and structure into my life.
Yeah. And I feel like when you're a single parent, you tend to go through that stage. I know I went through that with my older two boys where you're like, okay, am I giving you enough? Do you have enough strong role models?
Yeah.
Should I be enforcing more discipline in your lives, structure, routine, especially with, boys, they really need it. So I can understand that part of it too.
Yeah, so that was sort of the start of it. And then all throughout high school, I stuck with it. I was the only person like out of my friend group, both male and female, that did Army cadets.
Yeah, okay.
And I loved it. Like I was so excited when I had like a bivouac or I was going away to do some kind of training or there was a march out parade or something. So
And was it ever like, did your friends ever look at you differently because you did it or there was...
I don't think they ever looked at me differently. I think they just didn't understand like why the fuck would you want to do that kind of thing because... the girls that I were hanging out with, we were like the popular group and they were all the pretty girls and stuff like that. So it just wasn't anything that appealed to them. But I'd always, even from a very young age, had more male friends than female friends.
Okay.
So it was a very natural fit for me.
Yes. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how you got into the cadets.
That's how I got into the cadets. And then there was a girl who was a year or two older than me who was doing Army cadets. She was at my high school. And I just looked up to her so much. She was fit, she was intelligent, she was funny, she was attractive, and she was like getting promoted in the Army cadets. And then she went away to ADFA, which is the Australian Defence Force Academy in Canberra. And I was like, oh my God, I want to be like her. Like, that's amazing. And in grade 11, there was a scholarship opportunity made available for Australian students, the Triforce. So that was Army, Navy, Air Force. And Mum and I went to the recruitment centre. Ironically, we're actually like, where we're filming this, the Careers Centre for Defence Force is right downstairs. So
and
thank you
just
for
note
that.
to herself, she will not be going back in there today.
So we went to the recruitment centre in Bundaberg and the man laughed at Mum and I. Basically just went, this is not suitable for you. You don't do any team sports or anything like that. Meanwhile, I'd been doing rowing and playing touch football and all that sort of stuff. But he very much tried to get me to stop.
Okay.
And I was like, no, there's got to be more. So we ended up going to Brisbane recruitment and we ended up meeting up with a lady who helped me through the application process.
Wow.
Fast forward a year, I was awarded one of those 80 scholarships they gave out Australia-wide.
Wow. Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
And so how old were you when you started, when you went to the Army?
So because the scholarship was based on, Australian Defence Force Academy, it's not just regular, you actually do university as well. So I still had to meet the university requirements. And like a lot of teenagers, I kind of slacked off and didn't meet the OP score that I needed to get in. So I actually missed out on going to ADFA the year that I was supposed to go, which was straight after high school.
Right.
So I went to University of Queensland in Brisbane to do Bachelor of Economics, which was I had a backup, but I was fucking miserable, absolutely hated it.
Yeah, and I can't imagine that would be very
it wasn't at all.
Sorry to anyone that's listening that has an economics
And then
degree.
I just partied and drank like most first-year uni students do. I was living on campus And then in August of that year, I had a message from Defence Force Recruiting asking me to call them back. The University of New South Wales had dropped the OP requirements for the degree that I wanted to do. And because I was a scholarship winner, I had first preference. Oh. And they're like, do you want to come? And I was like, fuck yes. So I packed up my life in Brisbane, moved back home, and I spent the holidays working on my fitness because I still had to meet certain requirements.
Yeah, okay.
And then, 1998, January 1998, I was formally enlisted at Brisbane City Hall in front of the mayor and family and all that sort of stuff.
Wow. Major. So how old were you then?
19.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
I was turning 19.
So once you enlist, then how long until you actually go to...
So the day that I enlisted on the 19th of January, we left Brisbane Hall, went straight to the airport.
Right.
And down in Canberra.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
It was all very quick.
Yeah. And so at this stage you were still really excited about the journey.
I was just like
you're living the dream.
Absolute dream. I couldn't have imagined. I'd worked really hard, it was really prestigious to get into the academy via the scholarship. And I just couldn't wait to get started. It was scary because I'd come from a regional town. Bundaberg is it was a small regional town. I didn't know anybody else who was going or anything like that. Actually, that's not true. There was a young guy who was a couple of years younger than me, and he was going into Navy, I think. So I knew him, but the minute we got to the academy grounds, it was just, we were split. It was game on and straight into it.
Yeah, wow. And so what happened then? What was the next part of the...
And then, so the first 6 weeks at ADFA is called basic training. So regardless of your history, your experience, everyone has to do the same training. So across the course, everyone does basic military training. So learning how to march, use weapons, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then 3 weeks into that, I was sexually assaulted by my commanding officer during an exercise.
Wow. Yeah, so everything just turned.
Everything changed. And before then, I'd never had any negative experiences with males, and it certainly wasn't a place where I ever felt scared. We were all there for a common goal, and we were all there supporting each other, and I'd never experienced anything like that ever before in my life. And it was scary, but I'd been raised to know that what had happened wasn't right. So, I obviously made formal complaints, and he was charged and pled guilty. Luckily, there was a hearing. And I think everything just went downhill from there. Not necessarily from me, but everyone knew about it.
Yeah. And so did you stay much longer after that happened?
I stuck it out for another 8 months.
Wow. Did you really? I don't think I knew that.
No, I don't think I really talked about it. Yeah, but I stuck it out. And so that happened. It actually happened on Valentine's Day. The assault happened on Valentine's Day. Gosh. And my birthday, my 20th birthday, was 3 weeks later. And
so, did you just kind of keep on going like everything was okay?
Yeah, I had done everything I could do. I wasn't given the right kind of support by any means, but because it was so early on in training, it was like I just got to keep going. This bad thing happened.
And you sort of block it out a bit, I suppose?
Yeah, I did block it out. The way that I was treated by other people was interesting.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that probably led me to probably quit was we were all being trained to be officers in the army, to be leaders, to lead by example and be good people.
Yeah.
And yet at the hearing for the trial, when they were calling in witnesses who were the other cadets in my section, they wouldn't talk.
Yeah.
There's very much this culture around protecting one another. And to me, I was disgusted. I couldn't believe that they would put that in front of doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And that's when I realised this is not an environment that's going to be suitable for me. They tried to get me to change to Air Force or Navy, and I was like, no, I'm Army all the way.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so 8 months later, so my official discharge date was in August.
Okay.
And basically they just put me in a taxi and that was it. See you later.
And back to the airport and home.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened when you got
home? I just had to start again. I never had a backup plan. That was not something I ever really sort of planned for or thought was ever going to happen. Yeah. I thought I was, I'd signed a contract committing to the Army for 9 years.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know. So I just kind of I went back home to my parents and kind of had to work out what the fuck am I going to do.
This episode of Cut the Crap is brought to you by Bespoke Creative, strategic brand and marketing solutions for visionary businesses. If you're building a business but your brand still feels like a work in progress, or you're stuck in DIY mode and it's just not cutting through, they get it. That's what they do. Bespoke craft powerful brand strategies, compelling content, and high-impact marketing campaigns to help businesses grow, scale, and stand out. Visit bespokecreative.com.au to learn more or book a free call. And how are you feeling at this stage?
I hadn't really been, not looking back, knowing what I know now, there were no signs or symptoms then when I first got back to the army. I first got back from the army that there was something wrong.
Okay.
It didn't start, the signs and symptoms didn't start happening until leading into the next year.
Okay. And so during that time, what were you doing then? You started working?
Miserable. I started working full time. I got into a relationship. I was living with this guy that I was in a relationship with and just trying to survive meanwhile, because I'd still never had any counselling or anything like that. So meanwhile, I was just surviving, doing what I thought I needed to do, work, make money, have friends, have a life, all that sort of shit.
Yeah. And then when did everything start to change?
Hindsight's such a wonderful thing.
Isn't it just?
The first sign that there was a serious problem was my partner at the night at the time had gone to my parents for dinner. It was like a Tuesday night or something. We'd had dinner. It was a really nice dinner. Nothing had happened at all. And there was no talk about what had happened to me. It was just sort of, it's not like it was ignored, but I never told anyone outside of the medical team and my lawyers what happened.
Did you tell your mum?
No.
Right. So your mum didn't know at this stage.
She knew something had happened, but I'd really played it down.
Oh, Missy. Okay. Wow. Yeah.
She didn't know until probably 5 years ago, the full extent what happened. And then, so this particular night, and then we left dinner to go back home, and it was literally, the way to describe it is like a brain snap. We were driving and something literally just flicked the switch, and I was like, I need to get out of the car. And I was like, stop the car, I need to get out. And he's like, I'm driving, I'm not going to stop the car. And I was trying to get out of the car, and I was hitting him, trying to get him to stop. He eventually stopped by this swamp called Baldwin Swamp, and I literally just ran into the swamp and just hid and was just crying. And he was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And he called my mum, and then my mum came down and eventually coaxed me out. And that was the first sign. At the time, Mum was like, this is really weird. What is this about? There was never any connection, or mental health back then was not as openly discussed as what it is now.
Definitely not.
And that was the very first sign. Now that I know everything I know, that was the first sign that there was a fucking problem.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's
And then things just snowballed from there.
And
those kind of episodes were regular.
Yeah, and just feels like such a common, not so much your story, not a common story, but that thing with women whenever there's a situation or an event like that happens, it's always put down to hormones.
Yeah.
Or, disregarded as a mood swing or, but it's but what is causing that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why is that happening?
Yeah. There's got to be a root to it.
Yeah. And I think, obviously we grew up in the same generation. It was very much a generational thing, that sort of thing. I think even more so in our parents' generation, it really just was not discussed.
Well, this was 1999.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long, long time ago. God,
yeah.
We're so old.
It feels weird. It's like when you're playing it's like you're playing a lotto game. What do you call it?
Scrolling
the pokies to get to your number of your age, of the year of your birth. So fast forward a few years later, and you end up being diagnosed.
Yeah, so I wasn't diagnosed until another 10 years later.
With?
My first diagnosis was bipolar disorder type 1
right.
with psychosis.
Okay.
And then all the other diagnoses followed.
Right.
Yeah.
And so during that time, that 10 years, what was Missy doing?
Missy was living alone, hiding her life from everyone. I am and was very high functioning. So when I moved to Brisbane and got the diagnosis, I was working in a senior management role for property developers. Like I had a very high-paying, high-level job.
Yeah, and that's not an unusual story.
No, I think it was easy. I just worked and worked and worked and worked. And at the time, it was 2008 when I was diagnosed. So I was single at the time.
Okay.
I had just finished doing a PR tour with Dennis Rodman in Australia, which was wild.
We need to talk about that in a minute.
And yeah, so the diagnosis just stopped everything.
Yeah.
It just literally halted my life.
Yeah. So when I met you, you
It was only a couple of years after that.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, you were louder than life. You were larger than life. And
Physically and literally.
Well, I mean, but you were you. You were unapologetically you. And you still are. It's just that there was a lot of
masking,
smoke and mirrors going on. And I always knew there was more to you than what met the eye. And there was some trouble there. But you know, you were amazing. And, you know, we just did so much crazy stuff together and so much incredible work. And, you know, you used to like, you know, just work so hard and create these, you know, amazing events and styling and, you know, all of that stuff, which was fabulous. And the one thing I remember was when you used to have your desk in the office and you would be on the phone and nobody could be on the phone when you were on the phone. Nobody could speak when you were, and the girls in the office would look at me like this and be like, it's okay. But, you know, it's, yeah, I mean, yeah, you really were high functioning, like, you know, in so many ways. But it was, I mean, back then, you had my Rebel Collective then, right?
Yeah, the Rebel Collective.
Yeah. Sorry, the Rebel Collective.
Yeah, no, actually, no, that didn't come later. I had Svelte PR. It was Svelte PR.
That's right. Yeah, true. Okay, yeah.
So
gosh,
I started all that
journeys.
creativity was part of my therapy.
Yeah.
So when I was unable to work, after the diagnosis, I was unable to work full time. I was on like stress leave and stuff like that. It took quite a while before I was able to get like on a disability pension.
So how long after you were diagnosed that you moved to the Gold Coast?
2 years. So I was diagnosed June 2008 and I moved to the Gold Coast 2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was, I guess, a chance for me to just start fresh, you know, like create a new life for myself.
Yeah.
And I'd been doing the styling and all that sort of stuff. So that was kind of how I'd built a profile and was able to move to the Gold Coast. But that whole concept, that creativity, that styling was an outlet for me to help manage. And I've been blogging as well. So I was writing about my experience. Yeah, I was writing about my experiences and just trying to process everything myself. And that was a really good creative outlet for me. I never imagined it would turn into a fucking career. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then you met your partner.
My ex, yep.
Yeah.
That was
Ex-partner.
2013,
Yeah. And so you guys were together for quite some time, but you were very sick at this stage.
Yeah, so when I moved to the Gold Coast, I got caught up in the wrong crowd. And that's where had already been experiencing drug abuse and alcohol abuse from self-medication when I was in Brisbane.
Yes.
But when I moved to the Gold Coast, it was like so much worse.
Yeah. I think if you do get caught in the wrong places here, it can
and I didn't know anyone on the Gold Coast. I didn't know who the people were, all that sort of stuff.
And it's a lonely old place if you don't. I mean, we're a small, big town, but if you don't know people, it can be extremely lonely when you move here from other places.
I mean, I'm obviously not going to mention any names, but you might remember. I remember this guy like walked into the office, into Division Models, and was like, "Oh, I see you've moved to the Gold Coast. Blah blah blah. You know, like, why don't you come out with me?" And I was like, "Okay, this is a good-looking guy," and all that sort of stuff. So that was kind of the start of it. And I got really wrapped up in a bad scene. And that obviously exasperated all of my symptoms and everything. And yeah, it was not a good time at all. And it took me probably a couple of years to get out of that before I was sort of completely clear of that. Yeah, that lifestyle and those people.
You managed to get yourself out of it though. That's the amazing thing, you know, because not many people do.
Yeah, it's funny.
You don't often hear that.
I remember Mum had come to the Gold Coast to spend some time with me, and we met up in Brisbane Boondall Entertainment Centre, and there was a beautiful, nice park. And Mum and I have always been incredibly close, like, so I could tell her absolutely anything and everything. And she knew there was something going on, and I just told her, I'm like, I've got a drug problem. I've been smoking meth and doing this and doing that and blah, 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 and I don't know how to stop. I need help. So she helped me come up with a plan to sort of like, ease my way out of it and what have you, and I did.
Amazing. And that shows the strength and courage, that you've obviously, you've always had that there, because it's like can't be easy to get through
I
that.
think the reason why it's not like I was easily led, but I so desperately wanted to be like everyone else. I so desperately wanted to be normal.
You just needed to feel normal.
Yeah, and to feel like I was part of something, and that, that whole scene is, it's not real. It's not healthy or anything like that, but it made me feel like I was normal.
Yeah. And so where did you go from there? So you managed to get out of that scene.
So got out of that, and that's when and then you actually got me the role writing for Get It magazine as fashion and lifestyle editor. So that was, again, that creativity was so good for me because it allowed me to deal with my symptoms and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I'd been on medication at this stage since 2008.
Yeah.
Daily medication.
Yeah.
Like copious amounts of pills. And I was never abusing these medications.
No.
It was just how many I was getting prescribed to manage the symptoms.
Yeah.
So met with my ex January 2013. And then I think the stress of being in that relationship, because I had predominantly been single majority of my adult life. I like being single.
Yeah.
The stress of that just sort of like exasperated my symptoms. He exasperated my symptoms.
Yeah, that's not.
I think that's pretty common for a lot of women. And then December 2014, my weight had ballooned. You probably remember, I think we had disconnected just for life for a little while, but my weight had slowly been increasing. And my love for life had been decreasing massively. I'd had one suicide attempt, two suicide attempts at this stage.
Yeah.
And December the 1st, 2014, I was rushed to hospital via ambulance. I seriously thought I was going to die. I actually thought I was going to die. I'd been hallucinating. My whole body was swollen because I later learned, my blood was poisoned from the lithium that was taken supposed to make me better. So I'd been hallucinating. I remember I woke up in the morning, my partner went to work. About an hour or two later, I was having difficulty breathing. I was seeing shit on the walls. I was like, fuck, this is not good. This is not good hallucinations. This is really bad. And I remember calling him and I'm just like, there's something seriously wrong. You need to come home.
Yeah, how terrifying.
So he raced home from work, and he was working in Springwood at this stage. He raced home from work. He called the telehealth thingy. They asked some questions and they sent an ambulance straight over.
Right.
So went to hospital. They did all the blood tests and I had a near fatal level of lithium blood poisoning from the lithium.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so how long were you in hospital for?
I was in hospital for a week. And I was monitored, my intake and output was monitored daily, and the swelling kind of went down, and they basically had my blood was clear of the medications. So, and I hadn't had any symptoms or signs of my bipolar, no manic episodes, nothing like that. And I was like, when I get out of hospital, I don't ever want to take medication again. Is that something that's possible for me?
Yeah.
And the doctors at the hospital were like, yeah, if your GP supports that, then 100%.
And that was the turning point.
And that was the turning point. I've not had any psychotropic medication since 2025.
That must feel really hard.
It was, at the time, I didn't think it was going to be a forever thing. I just knew that with what I'd been through, I couldn't keep doing that.
Yeah.
And it took 6 months to recover because I had neurological damage from the blood poisoning.
Yeah.
I couldn't see, I couldn't speak properly. My muscles were really weak. I had really bad kidney failure. Had developed hypothyroidism, all these other physical ailments as a result of it. So I just had to heal from that. And that took a good 6 months. Mum came down from Brisbane, from Bundaberg, and she stayed with me for a little while my ex was working and stuff like that, just to help, just try and get me back on track. And that was really the start of everything. Yeah. And the real healing.
Yeah. And so, and then what happened? Because, I mean, you have shared a lot about this on your social media. You've been very open in the past about this journey so far. And then along with that came the beginning of this big weight loss, right?
I mean, the weight loss, it was learning. I became an expert in my illness. I'd done therapy and all that sort of stuff. And I'm just like, if this is a part of me, I need to know everything. I went to bipolar support groups. I, had different therapists. I did research. I reached out to places overseas to sort of, look at different, alternative methods, treatment methods and stuff like that. So I very much became an expert in what I had. Yeah. So my final diagnosis, and these are all incurable. I have complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Yes. Bipolar type 1 with psychosis, generalized anxiety. And with the bipolar and the mania comes additional things. So I used to experience what's called rapid cycling. So with my manic episodes, they would come on very, very quickly and they would stop very quickly, and I could have multiple a day, multiple a week. It was what they call rapid cycling. Right. Yeah. Okay. So I learnt so much about that, and then I knew healthy body, healthy mind. That always stuck with me, healthy body, healthy mind. But when you're unwell and you have an unhealthy mind, you don't have the capacity to focus on being a healthy person. No. Just fucking surviving is like you're only, I was in fight or flight survival mode for years and years and years. I didn't know anything different. Yeah. So I did my certificate in nutrition to learn. I'm just like, well, I'm eating all this food. I need to know what it's doing to me, why I feel the way, all that sort of stuff. And that was the really sort of start of the weight loss. And then I was like, this is it. I need to lose, I think at the time I was 120 kilos when I was admitted to hospital. Wow. And I was like, okay, I just need to lose 20. I just need to get under 100. I just need to lose 20. Yeah. And then I think I got to 32 kilo loss. Yep. And I was like feeling really good, all that sort of stuff. And my weight plateaued. And then I lost the remaining, I think I got down to another 20 kilos. I got down to 52. And I stayed that for years. And that was what I thought my base weight was going to be. And I think that was like 75 kilos or something like that. And then, in 2022, I don't even know what happened. The remaining 10 kilos dropped off, and I was sitting up until the last year because of thyroid issues. I've been sitting at 60 kilos for years.
And so you've just managed that through the healthy eating and exercise, regular exercise. What have you been doing?
Look, I mean, that in its simplicity, absolutely, I had to change my diet, but I had to change my lifestyle. Yeah. So that was really looking at what was affecting me. My partner was one of those things. Yes. So I had to make choices. What do I want for the rest of my life? I had another, 40 years left on this planet. Yeah. What was I going to do? I'm just like, he wasn't it, so he had to go. Yeah. Yeah. So he went. Yep. I got rid of him.
Yeah, girl. This episode is sponsored by The Conscious Trader, a curated lifestyle brand created for those of us who value slow living, simple luxury, and intentional choices. Their range of small batch, sustainably made, non-toxic essentials are designed for the home and body, crafted with care, beautiful enough to display, and gentle enough for the whole family. If you've been craving products that reflect your values without compromising on quality or beauty, explore the collection at theconscioustrader.com.au. Slow living, simple luxury.
That was December 2019, so almost 6 years ago now. Yeah. Oh my God, and my life, as you know, is just like flourished.
Yes, hasn't it just?
So I think the people in your life play a massive part.
Oh, 100%.
Your environment plays a massive part.
It's like the rotten fruit in the fruit bowl, right?
Yeah, but like for me, I knew I could do better. I knew I wanted better, but I didn't have the capacity to do anything about it until I got well and got my self-confidence back and was able to make clear, good decisions rationally.
Yes. And so you have now launched a fit and fabulous, tell me about your,
So
the plan that you've got going.
Yeah,
at the
so
moment.
it all started when I lost the weight. Naturally, as women, we get quite consumed and overwhelmed and excited by before and after photos. We all want a quick fix. This was a big part of my journey, and I had done every fucking diet under the sun, and it just never worked, right? Because it was all the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of people asking me how to do it. And I'm just like, oh, well, I ate well and I exercised, but it's not as simple as it is. It's not that simple.
No, it's not. It's discipline and it's consistency and it's every day.
Yeah, and it's
every single day.
Every single aspect. And, I was not only battling physical ailments, but also my mental health as well. So I was like, I'm going to write a book. So I thought I'll just start writing the book. And then I was like, you know what? There's more to this. And that's when the whole story, writing sort of like a mini autobiography came about, Fierce and Fabulous. And then based on that, I developed an 8-week program.
Yep.
To help women find their fierce and fabulous.
Yeah, which is amazing. And so you're halfway through one at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, so I've got about 12, 15 women who are doing it at the moment, and I'm leading them because I think it's important to lead by example. Yep. It's an upgraded version, and we're starting week 5 actually. Today was the start of week 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so all the women, can you have a group?
So there's a group. We have a group chat, and naturally there've been women who have dropped off, and the irony is their reasons for dropping off are the reasons why they need to fucking stick to the program.
Yeah.
Right?
It's always the way, though.
Yeah, but you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. People have to be ready, and they have to be prepared to put in the hard work because it's not easy.
No, it's not.
It's really not easy. But the changes in these women and the feedback that I get on a daily basis is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's really rewarding for me. Well, I mean, I fucking know it works. I've lived it and I've lived it for years.
Yeah.
It's not like I lost weight and then 6 months later I'm releasing a program. It's been, I've been maintaining it to prove that it works.
Yes.
So you've seen the changes in them. And for me, the weight loss is great. We all want to lose weight as women, whatever. But their mindset changes and the way they see themselves and their motivation and their confidence is it fucking just makes me feel so good.
Yeah.
Because I want every woman to feel as good as I do and to love themselves and love their life as much as what I do.
Yeah. And it's so hard sometimes when you talk to people and you know that they could have something better, but it's just understanding.
I mean, God, I remember
themselves.
how many times you and I, over our years of friendship, would talk to me. I know you're expressing concern, you probably just wanted to fucking throttle me with the shit that I was doing, but you also have to be ready.
Yeah, everybody needs to be ready.
Yeah.
And that is the first step. I'm saying you just have to start. That's all, but having to start means having the mindset to be able to start. And that may not necessarily be there yet. So actually picking up your joggers, putting them on your feet and walking out the door is actually a really hard thing for some people to
100%,
do, right?
And I've been there, and it's daunting because everywhere in the world is planted gyms and this and that.
Healthy, beautiful, sexy bodies in tight gym clothes, and it's it's not everybody.
No, that's right. And for me, especially when it came to exercise, the amount of money I had spent on joining gyms and never going, I want to do it, motivation, but I just didn't enjoy it. I was like, there has to be another way, and there are other ways.
And so while we're talking about that, then, what do you think is the mindset shift? What do you need to do to get ready before you're ready? So that mindset shift, how do you get there? What's that?
I think for everyone it's different. For me, it was finally choosing life.
Yeah.
And just knowing that the way I was living my life, the way I was, aside from my mental health and everything, was just not what I wanted. I knew I wanted more.
Yeah.
And I think...
Did you believe that there was more there for you?
There were times when I didn't, but that was my mental health. That was the mental illness talking, and that has a lot more power over, and I had to my brain had to become stronger than my mental illness, and that's hard.
And so how do you do that, though? How do you...
It's like anything, therapy, training. I swear by therapy. I don't think I would be where I am if it wasn't for therapy. I still see my psychologist. We do CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, every month. And I will continue to do that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And we had a session yesterday, and she's just because she's seen me through so many bad things, especially when I was in hospital, She's just like, I just can't. She said, it just makes me so happy to see how well you are doing, how happy you are, and everything. I was like, well, because I've learned so many tools and strategies, and I feel like this is the stuff that should be taught in schools.
Yeah.
We should be taught how to manage our emotions, how to manage our finances, how to eat healthy and all that sort of stuff, not fucking algebra and bullshit that you never use, not practical stuff. Like, it's the bare basics. And as like, you know, for me, I was 40 years old learning how to fucking be an adult. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
No, I think, you know, there's a lot of more awareness around mental health when it comes to children and in school. However, I mean, and I'm not a school teacher and I don't work in the education system, so I don't know this for sure, but all I see as a parent who is schooled 2 children through school all the way through, and another one is going to start in a few years, is like there's so much focus now on the word anxiety. More focus on the word anxiety, and I don't actually think that it's being actually looked at as to what it is. And, you know, a lot of the time, you know, with behavioural with children, it's diet related.
Yeah, and because obviously our gut is like, you know, manages all of our stuff. But I think,
that's
you
your
know,
second
these
brain.
buzzwords get thrown out. Like, anxiety is an actual diagnosis.
Yeah.
You can feel anxious.
Yes. Correct.
You can feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have anxiety.
Yeah.
And I think people are self-diagnosing fucking left, right and centre, especially with ADHD. I can't focus. I've got ADHD.
Yeah.
You can't focus because you're fucking probably not happy. You know what I mean? Like this. And that for someone who has a professionally diagnosed psychiatric mental illness, it can be a little bit triggering for me because it also means that those people are diminishing what it's truly like and how debilitating these illnesses truly are.
Yeah. It's like the whole joke about, oh, you've got OCD. It's like, well, actually, that's not what OCD is, you know?
Yeah.
And
the weather can't make its mind up. It's got bipolar.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Are you joking?
Yeah. Read the room.
Yeah.
Read the room.
Yeah.
But I guess, again, it's ignorance and, you know, people don't mean it. Essentially, they just don't understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why conversations like this are important, because people need to understand more about that. And that's why you got so heavily involved with Sane Australia. I remember a few years back you went to Jakarta as part of a group. That was a big deal. That was really exciting.
A really big deal. I was lucky enough to be chosen to be an Australian ambassador to go to Indonesia as part of a dual collaboration with social media. So trying to work out how we can change the way mental illness is shared across social media. And I've been ambassador with Sane since 2004 now. 2014, 11 years. And the work that they do is absolutely amazing. To be able to share my story has been so powerful, not just for others, but for myself as well. Like taking complete ownership of what's happened to me, what I've allowed happen to me. You know, like I openly admit that I lived in a victim mindset for years because it was fucking easy.
Yeah.
It's really easy.
Yeah.
And because I didn't have the tools or strategies to be able to make a change.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, that going to Jakarta and seeing, especially a third world country, and the limited opportunities and health things that they just don't have compared to us. Like, we are so lucky here in Australia.
Yeah.
Like, so lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially with, you know, things like they're called hidden illnesses, right? Because we don't see them. And so
it's very easy to put a mask on.
Yeah. And then just people are suffering. So what are you currently doing anything with them at the moment?
So the most recent thing I'm doing with them is like media. So I've had a lot of stories. Like recently there was a Mamma Mia article. So I've had do a lot of sharing of that aspect.
Yeah.
Stigma watch is something that's really important to me. Whenever I see someone or a news outlet that has shared things like, you know, killer was psycho or whatever, just those trigger words. We have like a special format where we like let Sane know, and they do their best to educate journalists to
that's great.
Not use certain words that are triggering.
Yeah, amazing. And so also part of that, your sort of, you know, mental health support journey, let's call it, has been cuddle therapy.
Yes.
So I know there was a little bit of media furore around your cuddle
right?
therapy.
It's fucking crazy.
Even the Today Show.
Yeah.
Was it the Today Show? Was
Yeah,
Today Show?
yeah.
The
morning show, Channel
the morning
7,
show.
yeah,
Yes. So Channel 7 were quite interested in your cuddle therapy. And I think it's been interesting to watch the clickbait.
The clickbait, oh my God, it's hilarious.
You know,
They're
it's
always,
almost questioning your authenticity of like, you know, is this
everyone
like
assumes I'm a sex worker.
glorified
Exactly.
sex worker?
But I'm doing reach arounds for like whatever. And because they're using things like she charges $2,000. Like I don't at all. That's ridiculous. It's fucking ludicrous. Like absolutely ludicrous. But
So give us the DL on cuddle therapy.
Okay.
What is it? How does it work? And why did you start doing it?
Okay, so I'll start at the beginning. It was during COVID, right?
Yes.
When we were all just trying to work out what the fuck was going on.
Actually, side note on that, because I was re-listening to our 2025 OG interview.
Oh my God.
And what we were going to be discussing was how do you date during COVID? So, I mean, then once you worked out the dating wasn't possible, it was just not worth it. Cuddle therapy comes in.
Yeah, so I, like everyone, was just watching copious amounts of streaming services, right? And I was watching the TV show Billions.
Okay.
You remember, the hedge fund? Yeah.
Is that the one with the family? No, that's not. No, that's Succession.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched Billions.
Okay, so there was one particular episode, and the way that they'd structured the cinematography was quite clever. It was all like, alluding to something. So they had this, oops, I just knocked the microphone. They had this woman walk into the big office, and as she walked along, she was this attractive woman dressed well and sort of corporately, and everyone's like assumed that she was a high-end escort or a sex worker or whatever. That's the way that they're alluding. Anyway, She walks into this office and she sits down on a couch, not much different to this, with one of the top hedge guys, and basically says, what you're going to experience is going to make you cry and make you feel things. And I just want you to feel free to, just be yourself. And then she leans in to hugs him, and he fucking just loses his shit and just breaks down. And that's, and then fast forward, he starts making big bucks again. So it kind of like in the show, it like removed the block that he was having to make money.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, that's cool. That can't be a real thing. So I got on Google. Oh, my God, professional cuddler. This is a real thing. It had been happening in Europe for a long time.
Okay.
And the States was picking it up as well. And I was like, how do I do this? And then I came across Cuddle Therapy Australia that does a certification. I contacted her and I was like, is this like, what's the deal? Blah, blah, blah. And
is this real?
Yeah, it was, and then she was like, yeah, absolutely. You have to be certified and you have to go through training. So I paid for my course.
Yeah.
Did my course.
Yeah.
Got certified. I'm insured. I'm registered. All the things like all other therapists and counsellors do.
What sort of things do you do in the course?
You learn about anatomy and basically, things like...
Do not touch this area.
the science behind it, basically.
Okay.
So, the skin is our barometer to our emotional well-being.
Yeah.
And, you think about when a child is born, what's the first thing they do? Skin-to-skin contact. We know the benefits of hugging. Like when you haven't seen someone for so long, you give them a hug and you will feel good, and a mummy cuddle. Everything feels good after a mummy cuddle, that sort of stuff. And airports, everyone's hugging from love and respect and whatever. Yeah. So I learned the science behind it, that when you hug someone, even if you hug yourself, it releases oxytocin, which is the feel-good hormone. Yeah. And I didn't have a lot of that as a result of my mental illness because my cortisol levels were all fucking shot to shit. Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, and it can like reduce inflammation and it can like help with sleep, and there's all these like incredible proven scientific benefits. I was just like, oh my God, this is in addition to all the stuff that I'm doing, maybe I can help people this way as well. Yeah. And from having a lot of friends who are veterans and FIFO workers, I knew how much they were missing human touch, and also how human touch had affected their day-to-day life with their PTSD. Yeah, okay. And I was like, if I can help people, then fucking bring it on.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, so that was the start of it. And 2022 I went viral internationally, and that was fucking insane. Yeah. Yeah.
So wild. Yeah. And so do you still offer cuddle therapy as a service now? Or?
I still offer, it's not something that I was offering one-on-one sessions were all I was offering at the beginning, and then I stopped doing that, and I was focusing on doing like workshops and training and public speaking and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I have brought back one-on-ones by appointment only. But yeah, I mean, for me to be able to go to a workplace, you know, I really want to start working more with first responders and, you know, offering as a form of like wellness. In the workplace.
I think that's incredible.
Because people they get massages in, so a cuddle therapist, you know, it's touch therapy.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so do you know how many cuddle therapists there are in Australia?
I mean, I think I'm the busiest. There's there's a lot of. I mean, it really depends as well. Like registered with Cuddle Therapy Australia around Australia. I'm not 100% sure. There's a few of us. There's quite a few of us.
Yeah.
We all have different services. Like some of them do Reiki, and some of them, you know, are massage therapists. So it's usually an add-on service.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
Makes
for
sense.
me, being a mental health advocate, I have a lot of training with regards to peer-to-peer. So that's an additional service that I can offer as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a counselling session, you know, during these cuddle therapy sessions. So yeah.
Aww.
But there's more than what you'd realise.
That's so good. So nice.
Yeah.
Just to give me a little, you know.
Everyone feels good after a hug, right?
Yeah, definitely. And you have an event coming up in a couple of weeks on the 12th of August.
Yes, so I'm speaking at an event down at Mondrian, the Gold Coast, on the 12th of August, and I'll be sharing a little bit about my story and doing not a group cuddle therapy session, but a condensed cuddle therapy session with everyone that comes along.
Okay, so what's the goal of the day? What's it all about?
So I'm just a guest speaker.
Yeah.
So the whole concept is about matches and mindset. So there's other facilitators that are going to be doing breath work and stuff like that. So the whole concept is obviously connecting with yourself and connecting with others.
Yeah, just feeling good.
Just feeling good.
With
Who doesn't
some
want to feel
matcha.
good? Exactly. On the beach.
I don't know if I'm into matcha myself.
I've never had it. It looks great. I don't know if I'd like it.
I don't do caffeine, so I
Yeah.
can do
You
decaf
and me
coffee,
both. Yeah.
but I'm just not, it's still, it's a different format of caffeine. But I believe,
Does it taste like coffee?
No, I don't think so. But I have been told that it can taste a little dirty.
Oh, okay. It doesn't sound like fun.
And then, but they put, anyone can correct me out there. There's some matcha specialists. It's got some very good benefits to it.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think it's my vibe.
Yeah.
So, your background, we kind of we sort of missed this little part, but your background, you had the Rebel Collective, you had Svelte BR before that. You have done, everything from PR, socials, branding, event activation, you've kind of done it all.
The funny thing is, though, the only formal qualifications that I have is in law. So I have an advanced diploma in paralegal studies.
And you also have your real estate license and you're a JP.
Yeah.
So you could do it all.
So my background is actually property primarily.
Yeah.
That's my formal qualifications, but I was lucky enough to get a marketing job for a property developer when I was in Brisbane, and that's where I really learned about events and marketing strategy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I fucking fell in love with it.
And it's that creative Pisces vibe, isn't it? Just
I mean, I remember when you and I
going.
were talking about events, we'd get so carried away.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to have this music and this is going to be the entrance and this is going to be the dance we're going to do.
And it'll be black stage.
Yeah.
And then
So that was that's my natural thing. And as I've gotten older and become well, I've realised that helping people I think I've always been like that, which is why I joined the army. But helping people is very much what I'm wanting to do.
And now you've been on a bit of a mission over the last 12 months or so to connect with other people who need to connect with people, right?
Yeah.
And build, friendship basis and groups. So you had speed friending, that went really well.
Yeah, I did that for 2 years and that was amazing. But I realised when I was going through my journey to wellness, learning what my goals were and what my values were became more important than what I ever realised at all. Up until the age of 40, I understood the concept, but I didn't really know what mine were.
It's just like the ultimate life glow up, isn't it?
Oh, 100%.
Like it's a mic drop moment.
So I realised these are the things that I want to do for myself that will keep me happy. And I'm obviously in a blessed position where I don't have to work.
Yeah.
I have money. I don't have to work.
Yeah.
So
whatever you do, you choose to do it because you want to do it.
Exactly. It's passion projects. It's done with passion. And the speed friending, I had no fucking idea that was going to kick off the way it did. And
it just shows you how.
It just grew so much. But it got to a point where I was working.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not my goal. This is not how I'm wanting to spend my days. And I was starting to get stressed about meeting these deadlines. And I was like, oh, rein it in. These are triggers for me.
Yes.
Managing my mental health, even though I'm well, is something that I have to do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And I now don't take that for granted. So the minute I start to feel like I'm getting sucked back into that sort of lifestyle, that swing, I'm like, oh, hold up, what's up? So I stopped doing them. Yeah, it's upsetting for the people who wanted to go along, but there's always going to be someone else doing those kind of events. You know what I mean? And I relinquished that obligation that I'd always felt.
Yeah. And so since then, what else have you been doing in that space?
Really just focusing on growing all of my resources, building my program. We actually have an event that you and I co-hosting.
Stop it.
Coming up at the end of or towards the end of August, which is called the Supper Club, which is a concept that I had a long time ago that I'd spoken to Kirsten about. We even had a shared Pinterest board.
Yes,
and
we still do, actually.
We still do, and it had just sat in my notes until, the time was right. And it was like, yep, okay. And I said to Kirsten, I'm like, I'm happy to do this, but these are my boundaries. And that was something that I obviously had never really dealt with before either, is being very clear on my boundaries, what works for me. And do
you think it's also, I mean, obviously I know that you've worked really hard on that, but now that we're in our 40s, do you think that that's just something that I don't want to diminish it, I'm not diminishing it at all, but I do feel that is something that we become very clear on when you get into your 40s.
I think because after, obviously let's scrap the first 20 years. After 20 years of dealing, because you're a child basically, you're just learning to live in the world. Yeah. The next 20 years, you have all these experiences with people and with places and with businesses and whatever. And eventually, unless you're a fucking moron, you learn from that shit, right? So it's just like, I'm done. I know what this means. I'm out. Yeah. And I think that's why.
So when you see the people and you're the bullshit radar, and you're like, and
I think you become less tolerant and you enjoy your peace. Yeah. And value your peace so much that you're just like, nah, this is no good. I'm out. Yeah. This is it, or I'm fucking, it's my way. Not my way or the highway, but those boundaries become a lot clearer and easier to maintain.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions now.
Okay.
So what is one belief that you, now that we're at this point in our age, that you see that you had in the past that you've had to let go of?
The plan.
Yeah, okay. It's a big one.
The plan.
It's a big one.
We all have a plan for ourselves.
Yeah.
Regardless of, and then we do what we can to adapt, but fucking shit happens and you can't always adapt. And I think, letting go of your plan, and it's not about just going with the flow and being chill, because you have to work. Yeah. And that's not physical work, but you have to do the work. Mm-hmm. But letting go of the plan and being adaptable to change. Yeah. That's something that I really struggle. One of the things that I've really struggled with is control, letting go. Yes. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
So what does success look like to you now versus what it used to look like?
Success used to look to again, because I was always wanting to keep up with the Joneses, because I thought if you see me like this over here, you're not going to see what a fucking mess I am mentally and emotionally, right? Mm. So now that I'm not worrying about that, being authentically myself and not giving a shit what they say. Some of the most recent news article that came out about my cuddle therapy, ironically, it wasn't just a story on me. It was myself and 2 other cuddle therapists. They just used my photo and did a clickbait headline. So everyone was targeting me. Of course. The old Missy would have probably like maybe removed herself from social media, hid away, I look at the thousands of comments now and I just laugh.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect me at all because I know who I am, truly know who I am, and I've worked so hard to be that person, and I'm so proud of me.
Yeah.
So that shit is literally water off a duck's back.
Yeah, which is great. God, we all need to be there.
Yeah. So I think success, you know, for me in the past probably used to look like materialistic things, money, status, what I was wearing, clothes, house, all that sort of shit.
What parties you were being invited to.
Yeah, or not invited to. But for me now, success is being able to do whatever I want whenever I want. Waking up in the morning and feeling good.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
Like that has become so addictive to me. And this past year, I've had some thyroid issues, which I've put on 10 kilos, and I'm now 6.9 kilos down from losing that weight.
Yeah.
But my drive and for me to be successful, I just need to continue doing everything that I've been doing, knowing that it's just for me.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've got a house. I'm buying a brand new car, picking it up on Thursday. Yeah, that's great. But to be able to book a holiday whenever I want, to be able to go out for dinner with my friends whenever I want, that to me is success. Waking up in the morning, cooking, creating recipe books. Like, I mean...
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, just that, you know, waking up and feeling good and that how addictive that is. And whether it's... And when I say addictive, you know how good you can feel that you don't want to do anything that's going to...
jeopardize it. No, absolutely not.
And, you know, myself, since obviously during like my journey to fall pregnant with Parker, I chose to stop drinking alcohol. I chose to stop eating certain foods, microplastics, toxins in my body, all kinds of things, which I think a few of my friends were rolling their eyes at and going, whatever. But, you know, the odds are stacked against you the older you are.
Yeah.
And I realised even though I was generally very healthy and fit person, I realised how much better again I could feel.
Yeah.
And then when I would consume any alcohol, I would feel awful.
Yeah, and then you wake up in the next morning and be like, what? I mean... And
well, not to mention that you can't sleep.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, one drink and I know, like, you know, there's that kind of, you're sort of about 4 months postpartum, you're kind of getting into the groove of things, you know, and friends come to visit and they give you a glass of wine and you're like, oh, okay, I'll just have a little bit. And I wouldn't even finish that whole glass of wine and would go to bed. And I would be tossing and turning and feel uncomfortable. And I just was like, no, this is not for me anymore.
Yeah.
And, you know, Parker's nearly 2. So it's been, let's just call it nearly 3 years of no alcohol. And the amount of stress and pressure that I unfortunately put on myself in certain times in my life and the things that go on day to day, plus, you know, unfortunately things transpire in life that we can't avoid and there's, you know, losses and, you know, things like that we have to deal with and, you know, financial stresses and things. I can't imagine actually my life now and having to have the alcohol burden on top of that, the guilt, the anxiousness, the less sleep, the lack of quality sleep.
Yeah.
Why? Like, I'm just like, I mean, I have had my fair share. I definitely don't think I'm missing out on anything.
No.
You know, and it's interesting. And I go, oh, so you're still not drinking? It's like, it's not an illness.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because as you know, my drinking was binge drinking. It was usually related to my episodes, but it got to a point where, you know, we would go out for our dinners and I'd be like Coke. It was like a bit of a running joke of just drink Coke, just drink Coke.
Yeah.
But for me, it was the cannabis. As you know, I was a heavy cannabis smoker for decades, I guess.
Yeah.
And
I guess that was your medication, really, wasn't it?
I mean, it was my medication. It wasn't, you know, obviously I bought it on the black market and then when it became legalized, I was able to like, you know, get it medically. But
it's definitely better than lithium.
I became self-reliant. I wasn't addicted to it, but I was so used to the way it made me feel. I didn't know anything else. And because I continued smoking that all throughout my wellness journey, I didn't know anything else. Yeah. When I made the decision... Well, actually, it wasn't even a definitive decision. I just stopped smoking so it's been almost a year, in September of last year. I have not touched anything. Like I literally went cold turkey. Yeah. And the way that I feel now, is just like, holy shit, this is what I've been missing.
Why didn't you do this sooner?
And it's, I guess because I've been relying on it every day for so many years, I didn't know any different. So I didn't realize how much of a fog and how cloudy it was actually making my brain and what have you. It's not like you could tell I was a stoner. I mean, it's not like I would. No. I mean, I was always stoned, but I mean, it's not like I was. Anyone, the general person would never have known. But I didn't want that to always be a thing, you know. And out of our group, I was the only one that smoked. You know, like it was quite antisocial for me.
Yeah. And drugs are antisocial. You know, it's quite contradictory. It's hilarious.
I mean, and I didn't realise, I mean, did it help me? Yeah, no, I don't even really know now because I feel like I don't think I'm a different person since I stopped smoking, but I definitely feel different.
Yeah. I think there's changes and for the better. And I think that at the end of the day, it's all part of the journey that you've been on. And had you have stopped smoking 10 years ago,
I might have, I mean, I could be dead.
It may not have, you may have ended up, you probably, I feel that your brain and your body definitely needed something to help you manage your journey. Yeah. And if that was, you know, the worst it was going to be, well. I
mean, that's the thing. I think after my, you know, drug abuse with, you know, the bad stuff, for me, cannabis was like, this is like the best, the best option.
The best of the worst.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I still am not a big drinker. I can't even remember the last time I had a big night. It would have been probably in Bali or something. But yeah, it's feeling good. Yeah. I love feeling good because I appreciate and value it so much more than if I hadn't have gone through what I'd been through. Yeah. Like when you wake up after a really shit sleep and wonder if that's the day you're going to die, either because of what's going on with your body or because you choose to take your own life, it's like a distant memory. Like it's weird. I remember very vividly what it's like because I'm scared as fuck that it could potentially go back. That's why I work so hard every day to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. So what is one piece of advice that you'd give someone who's right in the thick of it, like the messy middle, the self-doubt, spinning plates, just trying to get by, don't really know they want more, but you know, what's your advice?
I mean, this too shall pass. Taking every day, you know, we talk about the plan. We're always planning for next week, next month, next year, next century, whatever, but just focusing on the next 5 minutes sometimes, like when you're in that fight or flight mode, is the best thing you can do because things change so very, very quickly. Yeah. So I think just taking a moment and like taking time to yourself as well.
Okay, so come to the end.
Ooh.
So now I've got my questions for you. I've just given you questions, but these are like my closing questions. Okay. So what does your daily non-negotiable look like? Something that keeps you grounded?
Walking my dog, waking up, walking Nix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's one thing you've stopped doing that made space for more of the life that you actually want?
Caring what other people think. I finally realised that people don't think about you as much as what you think.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%.
You know, like you go somewhere and you're like, oh, you're so worried about what people think. They don't give a fuck about what you're doing. They're too busy worried about themselves.
Yeah. You know what? The perfect metaphor for that is New York City. So when you're in New York and you're walking around, you're like, you know, when you're walking anywhere and you're walking down the street, you know, and there's lots of people around, even let's just say Brisbane City, right? Because Gold Coast is not that busy. You walk around Brisbane City and you're looking, people will look at you, people will make eye contact, you know, sort of like, especially if you've come from, like, when I first visited New York, I'd been in LA beforehand. So everybody looks at everyone because you're trying to work out if someone's a celebrity. Yeah. You know, everyone is doing it. Is that such and such from, you know, and is that guy from... So when you're in New York and you're walking around, well, firstly, you can't stop because you just get pushed along. And secondly, no one is looking at you. Like, nobody. Everyone is just in their own mode, doing their own thing, minding their own business, doing their own, and like, you know, getting to their own location of where they're going and what they're doing. It is awesome.
Yeah.
There's something about it that is just like next level. It's like
And I think,
wild.
we do internalize stuff. There's that negative self-talk. If you go into a room or a party, you think people are looking at you. Well, they're not. I mean, they could be looking at anyone that just fucking entered a room, you know what I mean? Like this internal negative self-talk that we're like, oh, it's all about me. It's like, it's not actually.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit. So that was probably one of the biggest things that,
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so now the cut the crap
Cut the
truth bomb.
Oof.
So what's one thing in business or life that you used to believe, but now you call bullshit on?
Gym's the only way to get fit.
Yeah. Okay. Care to elaborate?
And personal. I mean, like, that was such a big block for me. I remember, because everyone tells you, and this is for years, like when I was diagnosed, Britney Spears had just had her big mental health breakdown. So that was the very first time that mental illness like bipolar was so heavily broadcasted and people were talking about it, right? And everyone was like, oh, the only way you can get healthy is go to the gym. It's not necessarily exercise, but go to the gym and eat healthy. It took me a while to get the healthy part right, but I was like, okay, the only way this is going to work is I have to go to the gym. I have to go to the gym. That pressure that I put on myself was just obscene. And because I didn't like it, I was like, what's wrong with me? Why don't I like it? All these other people love it. What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. You don't see results. It just this spirals, right?
Yeah.
We exercise every single day when we're fucking vacuuming, when we're like pulling the clothes in the clothesline. Like movement was the biggest thing, that just moving your body every day.
Yeah.
Is, I call bullshit. And it's the only way. No. I mean, I have lost my weight just by walking, dancing, living my best life.
Yeah. That's it. Living your best life.
Yeah.
So where can people find you?
Well, they can find me on Instagram at MissyRobinson_, and my website is missysworld.com.au.
Okay, amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really happy that we finally got to do
right?
this.
Only 5 years later. I still reckon that you should play some snippets from like our first.
We might need to like share a link to it or something. There's no video back then.
No, that's right. We just did like the via video call, didn't we?
We did, yeah. So thank you. It's been wonderful having you on here today.
Always, my love.
And thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Cut the Crap. If you've liked what you've heard, please subscribe, rate and review so that more people like you can find us. And we look forward to seeing you again on the next episode of Cut the Crap. Thanks for tuning in to Cut the Crap. If something in today's episode resonated with you, made you feel seen, or sparked a new thought, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review and share it with a friend. Remember, real life is messy, business is personal, and growth isn't always glamorous, but it's always worth it. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join me each week as we keep cutting the crap. I'll see you in the next episode.